experience at a Knockem comedy murder mystery show? Suspense, excitement, love, more love, violence. Well, not really. And of course, some music. Knockem Comedy is the #1 murder mystery troupe, entertaining thousands of people for over 20 years.
You have a great night or what? Good.
Their hilarious murder mystery shows are full of audience interaction from beginning to end that will keep you laughing all night long. Their shows are not to be missed. Knockem Comedy's murder mystery themes include a mob show, a redneck wedding, a high school reunion, a family reunion with a luau theme, or your own custom show.
Johnny, you have a good time tonight or what?
I had an awesome time.
All right. She had a great time. KDC, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, all right.
Fundraisers, private parties, corporate events, restaurants, and more. Contact Knockem Comedy for your event today. What will you experience
The
at a
comedy radio show also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair, from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. So call Two Eagles Auto Body and ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527.
You need to know about this band who started with Billy back in 1971, because it's not that history was written wrong, it wasn't written. So we're here to write it.
Well, it started with a bank in Colorado. The pocket of his vest a coat he had. Oh, loneliness will get to you somehow, but everybody loves you now.
That I've got to begin again. No, I don't know how to start.
Well, nothing I say does no justice to you. Nights of the day, the way that you do, Josephine. Oh, Josephine. It's been a long, long time, and I had to make up your mind. Captain Jack will get you high tonight. With just a little push, you'll be smiling.
party never ends. Knockem dead. Knockem dead. Comedy show. They suck.
Her energy is amazing.
We're talking about Laura Patton. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Knockem Dead comedy show here on Gov's Comedy Club podcast. Yes, we are on YouTube today.
oh,
You're looking for it too?
yeah.
Yeah, see, I did post, when I posted the picture for today, I put the YouTube address on that, but I see that not many are watching, so I have a feeling they're waiting on Twitch. Hopefully, so if it's on YouTube, it's probably on Facebook too. Let me see. The thing is, when we're doing a Zoom thing like we're doing with Monty.
Oh, she's got to go through.
Yeah, I can't get Zoom to work on Twitch.
Who did you ever think you were
look
going
at
to say that?
You know what? It's not.
I can't get Zoom to work on Twitch.
All right, hang on. I didn't even realize this. All right, let me share it on the Facebook page because I see that it's not playing on YouTube. It's not playing on Facebook. It's just on YouTube. So, well, all right, give me a second here. My apologies. My apologies.
4 and 20 well, this is Scottish. 4 and 20 virgins went down to Inverness, and when the ball was over, there were 4 and 20 less. Singing your balls to your partner, your arse against the wall. If you've never been had on a Saturday night, you've never been had at all. The village magician, well, he was there, he gave us all a laugh. He pulled his foreskin over his head and he vanished up his ass. Singing your balls to your partner, your arse against the wall. If you've never been had on a Saturday night, you've never been had at all.
I'm just happy.
Oh, you know what? Sick note. Let's see if I can bring that up fast enough. Sick note. Dubliners. Hold on.
Dear sir, I write this note to you to tell you of me plight. And at the time of writing, I am not a pretty sight. Me body is all black and blue, me face a deathly grey. And I write this note to say why Paddy's not at work today. While working on the 14th floor, some bricks I had to clear. Now to throw them down from such a height, it was not a good idea. The foreman wasn't very pleased, he being an awkward sod. He said I'd have to cart them down the ladders in me hod. Now, clearing all these bricks by hand, it was so very slow. So I hoisted up a barrel and secured the rope below. But in me haste to do the job, I was too blind to see that a barrel full of building bricks was heavier than me. So when I untied the rope, the barrel fell like lead, and clinging tightly to the rope, I started up instead. Well, I shot up like a rocket, till to my dismay I found that halfway up I met the bloody barrel coming down. Well, the barrel broke me shoulder as to the ground it sped, and when I reached the top, I banged the pulley with me head. Well, I clung on tight, though numb with shock from this almighty blow, and the barrel spilled out half the bricks 14 floors below. Now, when these bricks had fallen from the barrel to the floor, I then outweighed the barrel, and so started down once more. Still clinging tightly to the rope, I sped towards the ground, and I landed on the broken bricks that were all scattered round.
Oh.
Well, I lay there groaning on the ground. I thought I'd passed the worst, when the barrel hit the pulley wheel and then the bottom burst. Well, a shower of bricks rained down on me, I hadn't got a hope. As I lay there moaning on the ground, I let go the bloody rope. The barrel then being heavier, it started down once more and landed right across me as I lay upon the floor. Well, it broke 3 ribs and my left arm, and I can only say that I hope you'll understand why Paddy's not at work today.
Who is that?
That's the Dubliner. That's the Dubliners.
That's funny.
It's so good. Like,
yeah,
that's one of my favorite songs. And it's funny. I was like in probably my late 30s when I first heard that. I mean, it's been around for such a long time.
Oh yeah.
But my brother's the one who was like, dude, you have to listen to this Dubliner song. Like, I think I've heard every Dubliner song, and he was like, no, I don't. You couldn't have. He's like, you would have brought it up to me.
So, well, other than Tim Saliani last night after the show, do you have any Irish in you?
I'm more Irish than anything.
More Irish than Greek?
Oh, yeah.
No kidding.
The most Greek thing about me is my last name.
Right.
Like, everything. Like, I was brought up Irish. I was brought up Catholic. Like, yeah. I was an altar boy. Like, it kind of sucks. One of the reasons why I tend not to wear green on St. Patrick's Day. So when I was a kid, having a Greek last name, the Greek kids would be like, hey, Tikanis. And you'd be like, hello? And they kind of treated me different. They'd be like, oh, like he's not real. He's not a real Greek. Mm-hmm. Which really I'm not. I don't have much Greekness. I have exposure to a lot of the food. I have family and whatnot, but language, no.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like my parents were divorced when I was very young, and so we moved out here, and it was with the Irish that I was raised. So I actually know a lot about Irish culture. But then the Irish people just look at me as being Greek because I have dark features and my last name.
Right.
So I don't like my friends. The people who were my friends in high school would sometimes call me sheepfucker or Mick Sheepfucker.
That has nothing to do with nationality. Why they
call
you
Mick
sheepfucker?
Sheepfucker.
Well,
so Mick for being Irish and sheepfucker for being Greek. But yeah. So I don't feel like through so many years I've tried to establish some sort of like cultural identity to either of them, but I get pushed away by all of them.
Oh yeah, believe me, I'm right there with you.
So listen, I love Greeks. I love my Greek heritage. I love the Irish. I love my Irish. But I actually tend to be attracted to my French heritage because of that. Because I've been marginalized by everybody. So I'm like, you know what? I took French in school. I knew my French great-grandmother who was from France. You know what? Let me just hitch my shit on this and just not try anymore because you can't. People who don't want you, it's not a. Yeah, so it doesn't feel good.
I'm the same way. I never, because I grew up with my mother's side of the family, and that's all Italian. You know, Celentano. You don't get much more Italian than that. And, you know, I've been told, oh, you have the heavy New York accent. But then the second they hear Walker, they're like, oh.
Right.
And it's and then Irish people or English people, because that's a good chunk of my heritage. They'll look at me and see Italian, so they're like,
right.
But I don't know. It's just not like you said. I'm proud of my Greek heritage, my Irish. Like I don't know. That's not something I've ever really cared about. I care about my heritage, like the people.
Yeah. Well, I was brought up with people who very my Greek side of my family. They're all mainly half-breeds anyway, because my dad is a quarter French and a quarter Italian. So he wasn't purely Greek. Then you have like most of his first cousins and his brother and sister who were from a second marriage. They're Welsh. They're like half Welsh.
Yeah.
So nobody is like purely Greek except for some of his first cousins who are the most like aggressive about being like, oh, how do you say Charlotte's name in Greek? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know Greek.
Right.
Like I struggle to say Christos Aneste on Easter first because I can never remember what the answer to it is. So.
All right. Well, not to cut you off.
Speaking of Irish heritage.
That's right. Speaking of Irish, speaking of Italian, whatever. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Monty is here, ladies and gentlemen.
A big round of applause.
That's right. Chris, how are you, pal?
Good. What's up, fellas? How are you? Good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Same to you. Do you have any Irish in you?
I'm a quarter Irish. My mother was half.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
I'm Italian and Irish, like Henry Hill.
and like most of Long Island. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I got a wee bit of the Irish in me. That's where my love for the liquor comes from.
And you're celebrating St. Patrick's Day today. How?
I am going to be driving to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, to start a weekend at the Wisecrackers Comedy Club in the Mohegan Sun Hotel and Casino.
Very nice.
So I will stop off for a bottle of the good nectar from the gods to bring to my room.
What gods are those?
Little Jameson, and we'll have a fun.
Have you ever tried?
Fun weekend.
Have you ever tried Tullamore Dew or Powers?
I've tried Tullamore. I'm not a big fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I like Jameson better because it's like Irish wine. You don't need ice; you just pour it in a glass and drink.
Oh, Tully's the same way. But what we used to say when we served it is we would say it's like angels crying on your tongue.
I've tried the Powers, not bad. When I was a kid, some of my uncles drank Bushmill, but you know what? I haven't tried. I've been dying to try the new. I keep seeing the commercials for Proper Number 12.
Oh yeah. That what's his face is hawking.
Yeah, have you tried it?
Ewan McGregor, or not Ewan McGregor?
Yeah, no,
McGregor is his name, but it's not Ewan. Yeah, McGregor, the UFC fighter. I haven't tried it. And, I haven't tried it yet.
And there's a like a high end one called Redbreast.
Okay.
That is really good. That's like like $80 for like a fifth.
Oh, no shit.
But that's really, really smooth stuff. Yeah. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I basically, I'm a bourbon drinker.
Well, that's what I was curious if you were going to go the rye route for the holiday.
Yeah, I stick with Jameson. It's like it's an old friend that I've known forever.
Right on.
Hey, what's the furthest you've ever traveled for a show?
By car or by plane?
And yeah, it doesn't matter.
By foot.
Well, by plane, I would say I was out in L.A. a couple of years ago doing a couple of showcases.
Nice.
I worked Las Vegas over the last, I'd say 10 to 15 years.
Nice.
I used to work Vegas twice a year. Now I do it maybe once every other year. And by car, I've actually driven to South Florida when I have had gigs like on the way down, stop in South Carolina, stop in North Carolina on the way down towards, I've done Palm Harbor, which is like a suburb of Tampa Bay, and then from there driven all the way down to like the Fort Lauderdale area. So
very nice.
Cool.
I mean, I hate flying, but it's just quicker.
Are you scared?
No, I just hate people.
It's a weird business, right? You're trying to make people laugh, yet we hate them all. It's a weird thing.
I don't hate them. It's like when you got to get on a plane and everybody's just annoying, and it's just when I'm in my car, I could light a cigar. I got the moonroof. I got whatever I want to listen to on the radio. I could put on I could put on Tony Walker's show and just relax.
Good. Thanks for that. I appreciate.
I don't know why you would, but you could. Yes,
Knockem
you're right.
Dead comedy on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I could put that on, and hopefully won't fall asleep behind the wheel. But
Well, you just proved how much you listen to it because we're on Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
I remember you at one point would do 5 days a week, and then you went to 3 days a week, right?
No.
4.
I'm sorry. I thought you had gone to 3 days a week.
I don't care.
I got 2 little kids, and they're both sick right now, so I'm like...
Oh, yes.
No, this is awesome.
My apologies. Sorry, I wanted to ask. I should have asked that right off the top. How are they doing?
Okay. They're good. One's got strep throat, and the other one's got a head cold, and they both have this nasty cough. Right. So...
and you're like, oh, honey, I got to work this week. I got to drive. I'm so sorry to leave you home with the sick kids.
No, I'm not sorry. I've been dealing with it for like a week and a half now, and doing 2 shows a day, and then coming home, and me and my wife are both up with them all night because one's hacking away, and the other one's hungry because there's a 5-month-old and there's a 3-year-old. Oh. So come here, Olivia. You want to say hi to the people? Here's my 3-year-old.
Oh, nice.
Come here. Hurry up. You got to come in here because we're on TV. No. You don't want to be on TV? She's camera shy.
Well, we hope she's feeling better. There she is. We see her a little bit.
A little bit.
What is it?
You got here,
Oh.
you got to hear the cough.
I hear the cough. What is it? Lily? Is that what you said?
Olivia.
Olivia, is your daddy a cool dad? Oh, good answer.
Hey,
Nice.
You know she's under 5.
And she still has the
Hey,
Binky.
Binky is life, man.
Oh, yeah.
Don't sleep on
Absolutely.
Binky.
We got to get rid of it, fellas.
Eventually,
Trying to get rid of
yes,
it.
but
My friend told me dip it in vinegar and tell him it went sour. You got to throw it out.
oh,
At 3? Really? At 3?
You're not supposed to have it past 1, Tony.
My kids are in their 20s. I still stick it in their mouth to shut them up.
Well, with the 5-month-old, she's teething right.
oh shit.
Uh-oh.
My wife tried to call me during the show.
Oh,
It doesn't end. It's a crazy house. I can't wait. I'm leaving at 12 o'clock. I can't wait to get out of here.
Who's taking over? Your dad?
My dear and wonderful mother-in-law.
Oh, good
father-in-law.
answer.
that's the best thing about the in-laws is taking care of kids.
Yes, and they're very close to us. They live close to us, and
Nice.
they're a blessing. Believe me, I'd
Smart.
be lost without them.
Yeah.
What? now he's scolding her.
Yeah, you're now being that guy. You remember that guy in the pandemic that did the financial?
Yes.
He's like giving like a thing on the news program, and his kid comes screaming in,
And he like pushes.
and
kid.
the wife comes in diving trying to get the kid, and
Yeah,
all of a sudden everybody's in there.
that's a hilarious clip.
No, I know it's hysterical. That was luckily for me during that time. We only had the one, and she was younger. So I'm in the middle of the show, baby. Okay. Sorry, guys.
No, it's
dude,
fine. You're kidding.
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
Like,
we
with-
love
This
it.
is my life. This is my life. This is
we've-
what I talk about on stage now. I can't even take a poop in private.
See, for me, this is like probably about 6 or 7 years ago. Tony, it's more like 20 years
20,
ago.
yeah.
So
Right,
it's
fellas, I'm 50, and I started this now.
right.
I give you credit, man. I'm a couple of years older than you, and I couldn't do it, man.
No, definitely
Oh my
not.
goodness!
I
did
couldn't
2
do it
shows
back then.
yesterday. I did 2 shows yesterday. I did a lunch show for St. Patrick's, and then I did like a fundraiser at like a temple in Jersey. So I went from Staten Island to Jersey, and then back to Long Island. And then I got, I come home. I said to my wife, "All right, I'm gonna have a little. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I said I gotta have something to eat because I really didn't get dinner. So I have a little something to eat, and then we go to bed. And then at 5 a.m., the little one wakes up, and all night long, Olivia climbs into our bed at 3 in the morning, and she's coughing all over me, and I'm like, oh Christ.
Wow,
I actually
man.
look forward to going away this weekend only so I could sleep in tomorrow.
Right.
Dude.
And you know what happens once I get to the hotel? I wind up waking up at 7 a.m. And
Right.
you're like, I'm sitting there going, what the hell am I doing up?
Yeah, and then when it gets close to the time that you have to go to do the show, that's when you're like, oh, if I just close my eyes, I'm gonna conk out. But you can't because you got to do the show and high energy and
Well, what I'll
whatnot.
do is, luckily for me, the show's at 9 o'clock tonight. Anybody maybe watching in the Pennsylvania area, near Wilkes-Barre or Scranton, will be at the Mohegan Sun. What I'll do is I'll get in around maybe like 4 o'clock and then set the alarm in the room and set the alarm on my phone for like 7:30, and I'll take a little. I'll pass out.
Yeah, good idea. And that reminds me. So we're April 14th. You got the show here in the Giggle Room.
Giggle Room sounds like the back of a gay nightclub.
It sure does. Now it's you and Crevella's on that show too, right?
I got Joe Cravella, I got Paul Dagliolo, and my good friend from all the way up from Newburgh, New York, is coming down. Crazy Gene Trifolo, who books a lot of shows and performs a lot of shows in the tri-state area and a lot of upstate New York shows that I work with. So we're gonna have a great show. Chris Monty and friends.
All right, so
my daughter's playing with Clay.
So those are my 2 questions. So are you like
Okay. Okay, Daddy's doing a spot. He's blowing my spot up. Okay. Go. Sorry, Tony.
nothing to apologize for? This
Hilarious.
is
It's me trying to go to the bathroom.
It's just like W.C. Fields said, man, don't work with kids or animals.
awesome. But I would
Get out
think
of here, kid. You're bothering me.
I would think you're used to this though with the bathroom. Like I figured Hirschman's always popping his head in or something while you're trying to pee.
Hirschman's definitely always popping his head in while I'm trying to pee.
Has he been calling you about that damn banner? Are you up on this?
Yeah, well, no, I heard about the banner getting ripped down and stolen or something like that. So it's
Yeah.
the best thing ever happened to that fence. Taking those two ugly mugs off the fence. But yeah, so anyway, April 14th, we're going to be in the Giggle Room in Levittown. It's Chris, Monty, and friends. I got my 3 friends opening the show, and then I'm going to close out the show. We did a show there on February 19th, and it was sold out.
Yeah.
So anybody who's watching the show, come on out. I'm going to do some different jokes if you were there last time, and if you haven't been there, it's a fun night. It's a nice intimate little setting, little 90-seater.
Right.
And the show sells out because it's only 90 seats, so get your tickets soon.
Well, and just the fact that it's you, man, that's worth the price of admission right there. You know that. You've always been one of my favorites.
Sweet.
But so what are you doing? Is this a new thing for you? Are you producing these shows now?
Yeah, so I'm basically just putting the show together, putting some guys on I want to give a shot to, some young up and coming guys, and give them 10, 15 minutes, and get some people who keep asking me, hey, when are you performing on Long Island? When are you going to be at Governor's? And I know they like I work the main room because people say to me, oh, how come you work in that small room? I say, the reason I work in the small room is because I can pick and choose the dates I can do a one-nighter. I can call the club and say, hey, what nights do you have open on a Friday or Saturday in there? And they go, oh, I got this, this, and this. And I go, all right, let me get 2 of those. And it's an intimate setting. It's a small setting. And then afterwards, I'll sell some T-shirts in the hallway and say hi to the people. And it's a way for people to come out. I know I have a lot of friends and fans that haven't seen me in a while because of the pandemic and stuff. They're afraid to come out. So I got nice groups already looking to buy tickets for that show. So that's why I'm doing it. And then on June 23rd and 24th, I'll be out at McGuire's, at Governor's at McGuire's in Bohemia, doing a weekend out there. So anybody in Suffolk wants to see me in the bigger room, I'll be out there then. So
That's great. And those two, it's funny because those 2 rooms, I mean, McGuire, the brokerage is great. Of course, the main room is great, but there's something about the Giggle Room and McGuire's. There's a vibe to those 2 rooms. That maybe it's
they're
the intimate feel.
Man. They're like old school nightclub.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
With the comic, and there's my 5-month-old screaming, so I may have to cut this interview short.
All right,
dude, Dad is life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Listen, I want to say congratulations on 5 years.
Thank you, pal. I appreciate that.
5 years more. And I'll come on again. I promise you I'll come on again. I'll come in studio this summer when my wife's off, and I can come and hang out with you for the hour.
Sounds good. You've always been very supportive, pal. We appreciate it very much and hope your kids are okay. And have a great weekend.
Tony, you know that.
Yeah, right back at you, pal. We'll see you on the 14th.
Adios, man.
Happy St. Pat's and happy St. Joseph to my paisans this Sunday.
Nice. Thanks, Chris.
Take care, guys.
See you later. Holy shit, that was poor Chris.
Monty is Gay was the name of that.
That was what I called, when Zoom wants like a little title.
Right.
So I just wrote, he probably didn't even notice. But yeah, that's what I put on there. Monty is gay.
Obviously, with his 2 children.
Well, they're very cute, so, they might not be his. His wife is beautiful, and she's very nice, and she's a special ed teacher, which is why she probably married him. She's used to,
It's like people are attracted to things they need to do in their life.
Well, I'm thinking it's like a similar, like, it was a feeling that she's used to. She's dealing with special needs kids all days,
Absolutely.
and then she figures, oh, well, he's right along those lines.
Nice.
Hello, Fremder. Fremder's watching. I hope that everybody's eventually going to find us here on YouTube.
Fremder is watching.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. I know. I told... We did a bonus show this week. We had Eric Tartaglione and Chris Williamson in here on Wednesday. And on Tuesday, because Monty was supposed to do that show, but that's when the kids got really sick. That was like the worst of it. So on Tuesday, I told everybody, we're doing a bonus show tomorrow, but it'll be on YouTube. Join us there. Monty's not doing the Zoom that day, so I switched it over to Twitch. Thankfully, everybody followed us there. But now with Monty coming on today, of course, I didn't say it yesterday on the show. I told everybody Monty was going to be on, but I didn't say go to YouTube to see it because I can't get Zoom to work on Twitch. I get the video, I don't get the audio to work. And I've been working on it like crazy, actually. I've been spending a lot of time here trying to figure it out, and of course I haven't. So when I posted the picture for the show today, I put YouTube, but I guess not enough people noticed because now Fremder's gone.
No, he just commented. He said,
Yeah, but
Monty is
I don't know,
hilarious. Oh, yeah, it's down to 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess he saw that Monty left, so he was like, screw this. So,
yeah, good thing Fremder's not down here with us. Because then we'd all be in here with our phones on.
Yeah, true. Yeah, talking to each other. So, well, all right. Well, at least everybody will find it on replay if they look for it later.
Well, we got to talk about last night.
Cheese?
The cheese show.
Cheese show.
Tony
I have been
was
deflowered.
booked on the cheese show in in good old Holtzville, Long Island, New York. Right by where Island 16 is. Yeah, that's weird. Mine's further along than yours.
I mean, yeah, mine's really behind. I mean, Monty is still
I think,
on mine.
you know what? If it because your line is all the way there, it should be all the way there. So if
did it rewind somehow?
You somehow
look at that
in moving it. There you go.
Okay.
But so it was. It's a room where there's a lot of people who are high on cheese.
Yes.
The smell of cheese. Did I tell you? Remember I said to you, you walk in and the first thing that really hits you is that smell that you're like, oh my God, what am I walking into? And
that's exactly what I did. I walked in. I was like, what the hell? And I make my way because where the show was, you have to go around these hallways and it's in the back. So like these hallways for me were like never ending. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I get back there finally and I just look. What would you say? Maybe 50 people, maybe?
Yeah, something about that.
But I didn't know a single one of them. So and I had a bright orange and red shirt on. I'm like,
well, you had the blue Mets pullover.
Well, true, I had that, but but I don't do anything with weed. I don't take edibles. I don't smoke. I don't do anything. So I'm completely out of my element. I'm seeing all these people who are high, and it was like a Grateful Dead concert. You know, you got these screens with these different psychedelic things that are coming at the screen. And I spot these two, this guy and a girl, and they're both like this, looking at it. And I'm like, totally out of my comfort zone. I'm like, where is somebody, one person that I know? So I was like, screw this. And I just turned around. I walked outside. They have a little bench outside. And I just sat. I was like, all right, I'm just going to sit here and wait for Tim.
How long were you there before I got it? Because I'm the first one.
You were the first one, and I saw you walking towards me. I didn't even realize it was you. So I just kind of I see a guy coming. I just went back to my phone, and I'm like saying to myself, where's Tim? Where's Tim? And I had no idea it was you until you actually walked up, and I heard, Mr. Walker. That's how we greet each other.
Mr. Walker.
I go, Mr. Plagianos. That's how we greet each other all the time. So not long. In between 5 and 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
That's it was a nice night. So I'm fine sitting out there. So
and then shortly after I was there, Tim got there. Like
right.
it is one of the ones that because I think he mainly invites people who are pretty experienced, and the more experienced people get, the more closer to the time of the show they show up.
Well, he said he wasn't getting there till 8.
Right.
So I'm like.
But the show's at 8:30.
Right.
You saw Kathy Arnold was there 15 minutes after I got there, and I got there at 8 o'clock.
Right.
So it was she's probably the most experienced of the people who were on the show.
Oh, yeah.
So she's coming 15 minutes before the show. She's relaxed.
Yep.
I mean, she did not know what she was in for either.
No, she didn't even. At least I knew it had something to do with cheese. She had no idea until she got there.
Yeah, I mean, she was so good. Everybody was so good on the show.
Yeah, it was a good night.
Even Tony. No, it was good. It was, and this is. I ended up hanging out with Billy Geyer afterwards, and Billy was like, "Oh, how'd Tony do?" And I told him, and I told Tony this morning, it's like you ever watch the original Woodstock documentary? And I think it's the last morning, right? That's the Sunday morning.
Actually,
it's either the Saturday.
I think it's Saturday. So, Hendrix, I believe, started the Sunday morning.
So it was all these hippies are waking up and Sha Na Na is playing. That's what it was like. It was because Nicole went up first, and Nicole's trippy, and she did great.
Yeah, she did.
And then Tony gets up, and Tony is sort of more of
I'm a
hey,
goofball.
What's up, guys? High energy though. It's engage. You're trying to engage the crowd.
Yeah.
and it is not a crowd to engage.
No, not at all.
Because they're all just like... But we all have stories of afterwards, like you'll be in a situation, maybe you're picking up, or you're, go out for a cigarette, or you go to get something to eat, and somebody who was in the audience will come up and be like, "Bro, you were killing me. Like, I was killing you. What was I giving you an aneurysm? Because you were just like the whole time."
I've been doing the murder mysteries for over 25 years, and it's happened many times, and it's still something that throws me, because it's happened plenty of times. I get an audience who they're kind of just like this. And so you're out there and you're like, holy shit, we're dying. And you get this panic. Then you get like just a sad feeling. Then eventually you end up getting mad at them. But then when the show's over, I can't tell you how many people, that was great. Yeah. Thanks so much. I had such a great time. Oh, that was wonderful. And I'm like, not one of you, like, there wasn't one person in the audience that was different where they're like, yeah, all of them collectively are just,
yeah.
But they loved it. It was just that
they were
those type of people.
And I'll tell you, because the whole lineup was great, they were super into it. That's as engaged. It was quiet, at least.
Yes.
Towards the end, there were a couple of guys having a loud conversation by the video games.
Right.
But normally there's more talking than that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like they were slightly smaller than normal, but everybody was into it.
Yeah.
So like that's and that is like a tribute to everybody who was on the show.
I always seem to get, it always seems to silence the crowd when I flip the leg. They don't know if they're supposed to be laughing or not. They don't. Am I going to upset him? Am I being offensive? And I have to kind of get it out of them, but
because it's a stoned crowd, and you're like, "Do you guys do yoga?" And they're like, "Whoa, he's really good at that." Like, is probably what a lot of them. Like, oh wait, that's not a real leg, guys. Like that's
right.
That's probably more of what happened there in that room. I think other times maybe you're right, but that group was probably like, dude, he should be like in the yoga Olympics or something. Because that's like fucking amazing. Wow.
Totally out of my element, man. Totally. But it was cool. I mean, the comedians are great. Nicole, like you meant, Nicole Lamonaco or Narayan. In here not that long ago. Got to get her back. She's wonderful.
I love Nicole. She's another person has just such fantastic, like, she's just, here I am, I'm just me kind of energy, which is so refreshing, especially like in a performative business / hobby like this is,
right.
Where everybody's sort of trying to be like, which we all learned kind of early on. Don't work bits when you're hanging. Like, unless you're like, hey, I got this joke. Don't like the conversation goes to some topic that you covered. Don't tell your fucking joke.
Right. Don't do your bit. Right.
And Nicole is definitely as far from that as, like, that's what I'm saying. She's just like she's present.
Right.
And I respect that and so deeply, because she's to me, she's always been like that. I started after her, and yeah, but she's always been so sweet and so nice.
I first met her, I don't even think she was in comedy yet. I think, if I remember right, when I first met her, she actually said to me that she was thinking of getting into it. Either she was thinking of getting into it, or she had just started. Maybe had done one or two. I forget now. I'll have to ask her.
Well,
but the nicest person.
The open mic that used to be at Country Corner that Billy hosted, which is now at Royal Bar and Billiard, she came down one night, her and Tim Thompson. It was right when Tim was going through his shit. And she got up, and nobody was paying attention to her. I was in the bathroom. I came out, and I'm like, oh, Nicole's up. Because I appreciate her. Like, see, what she did last night was so, like, awesomely, like, it was different than, like, her regular stuff.
Right.
So, but I love her regular stuff. Like, she does a bit about dating a homeless guy.
Yes.
And that
yes.
And that he shared the news. He shares the newspaper with her because she's cold. At some point, which I love that. So we're at there, and she's at that joke, and everybody's talking whatever, and I'm like, and she's like, thanks, Andy. like she knew I was the only one who was listening. But she's so sweet. The Paul Bond super racist song that we sang together that I will not repeat on air.
Right, yes.
Which was fantastic. We were Paul Bond's backup singers in the green room at that show. But yeah, Nicole is just good people. And then you went, and you very good and things that Peter Bales has said to you, that I've said to you, you actually.
Yeah.
And it may have been that you were forced to because you knew that you couldn't dwell too long.
Right. So
you like, but it's brilliant. For whatever reason that you did it, and it went. I think it went really, really well.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, compared to the shit that you've done before, like, I mean, terrible, horrible. I can't believe you didn't quit stuff that you've done before. No, it was you were able to shine, and that's just it. You got to the jokes so much faster. So it's like we could enjoy it with you, especially comedians, because comedians will be like,
yeah, get on with it. Yes.
When are you going to get to the punch?
Right.
And it happens to like a lot of people. Like I go through it actually every now and then with a couple of the things that I do that I'm like, I'm talking too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a certain point. But it was you did really, really good. Who was after you? Was it Kelpie?
Kelpie was after me.
Kelpie, who's an out east person, originally from Western New York / Northern Pennsylvania. Check her out, Kelpie, Kelpy.
Yeah, she was very funny.
She is fantastic. And she doesn't even talk about the most interesting thing about her. She was a mascot in both high school and college. And she actually worked at a camp. She went to the camp, then was working at the camp. She refers to it as mascotting.
What do you mean a camp? Like a mascot camp to learn how to be a mascot?
Yeah,
really?
She's tiny.
Yeah,
she's like this. So all her friends got into cheerleading. She's from a very small place, and you can actually. The story is on Joe Winchell's podcast that I got this from, a Millennial Stoner, and she goes and it. If you get a chance, go look at that because it is amazing, like how deep. And even Joe Winchell's like, all right, like he didn't believe her. He goes, who's the Philadelphia Phillies, the Philly fanatic? Who's that? And she rattled it off.
Oh, no kidding.
She's like, yeah, I met him a couple of times. There's this whole mascot world that you don't even think of, but of course,
right?
Because her friends joined cheerleading, they wanted her to be in cheerleading because she's tiny and they could throw her, and she was like, nah, that's okay. I'm gonna be the mascot. And just on her will alone, she became the mascot, and I want to know more about it.
Well, we talked last night because I did. I thought she was very funny, so that's when I started talking to her. Like, what's your story? Who are you? And I said something about because when Sallie introduced me, he said something about working here, or he said something about the show or something.
Right.
So she said, "Oh, so you work at Governor's?" And I go, yeah. I said, have you ever seen the studio in the back? I said, I run the studio.
I don't think she's done a show here yet.
That's what she said. She goes, I've never been there. And that's when I was like, oh, are you new around here? Because that's when I was like, you just assume that every comedian, no matter how local, how national, you just assume they've all been here. So I was floored. So, yeah, she said, yeah, I've been here since last summer. I said, oh, okay. So I said, we got to get you in here.
Absolutely. I've said it to her. Like, there's a few people that I've approached at, like, the mic that I go to, particularly where I'm like, you got to come in sometime. Like Alex Bradley, Kelpie's one, Noel Rodney Jr. is another. Where these people that I'm like, you got to come in some Friday, and a lot of them are like, oh, Fridays are really hard. I'm like, right on. That's
right. Well, she said she had daytime availability on a Friday, as did Raniolo. Sorry. It was
seriously, I'm Italian.
I'm just an Italian.
Just on my tongue. My tongue is not Italian. I cannot pronounce the Italian names.
James Raniolo. James Raniolo.
James Raniolo.
He was first time I met him too, and he also has Friday availability. I said, you got to come in, and I said I made sure to tell him it's got to be a Friday when you're here.
Well, it doesn't. I always tell them it doesn't have to be, but I would love to talk.
No,
to
certain people. I'm like, no. Got to come in Friday when Andy's here.
See, well, I even I say to Billy and
yeah, Billy's got to get in here.
I always say to Billy, like, just go down there on a day that you have. Don't wait for me. Don't wait for a Friday, like, because a lot of times he doesn't want to like be tired. Like, he wants to conserve his energy until Fridays are a day where he normally has a show on a Friday night. And I tell him, like, dude, just go in someday, be it a Tuesday or Thursday or something like that, and just go in, please. And I often feel with some of my friends that I'm like, I don't want to come in and like be the one that's stepping on. Like, we're here to listen to you, but like I'm gonna get excited because they're my friend,
right?
It happened with Windchill.
Yeah, but I like I like that because there's a chemistry when you know them. It's always, for me, it's in my personal opinion, it's always, the more that's in here, it's always more fun.
Right.
There's a bigger energy. And this, you'll ask questions that I won't think to ask, so no, I like that. I like,
I hear you, but I just don't want, I'm always like, I always tell them, like, this isn't about me. This is about like getting you out there. Like, please don't.
Yeah. Billy's one of those, Billy, you're a part of this family, man. Billy can walk in any time.
Think you're talking to him right now.
Well, if he should happen to check it out. Yeah.
Like I have a regular phone call. I call him Friday afternoons when I leave here. I'm on the northern state by then, and I'll call him, and sometimes he's up, sometimes he's not. But I love him so much because he's like, hey man, what are you doing? Well, it's Friday at fucking 1:00, dude. I'm on my way home from the pod. Oh, how'd it go? And I go back to when Brandon Lackaruba used to do his mic, like back a couple of years ago, and he it was the first time he had done it, and it was at the place that he does the broken mic one, and we're all outside smoking afterwards, and we're like, yeah, this was a cool mic. This was fun. This is like a cool space and everything. And Billy's like, yeah, we got to make this part of a regular rotation. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of hard. It's usually for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for me, but this is later. And he goes, is that what day it is? Like, with no hint of irony or joking around or anything.
That's like, fantastic.
Is that what day it is? And I fucking lost my shit. And I've been using that as my, like, this is Billy.
Right.
Like, like dealing with him on regular, just boring day-to-day stuff. It's never just boring and day-to-day. The guy is hilarious.
And I do what, I mean, the time with our 5th anniversary here, the first 2, maybe 3 years, it was kind of like a regular thing where people would show up unexpected. They would just knock on the door, or if they were booking something here or talking to the guys here, they'd stop in. Yeah. And that has kind of fallen off a little bit. So, it was a regular thing, and I love that element of surprise. I love sitting, and even to a certain degree, if it's somebody I know fairly well, then I don't mind even being unprepared because I know them well enough so I can talk to them about anything. And I miss that. There was a pureness to that. There was an honesty to that, a rawness, and just a lot of fun too. So, yeah, Billy's always welcome. When is the broken mic? What night?
That is a Wednesday night. It's an 8:30 sign up, 9:00 start. Everybody gets like 3 minutes. If there's not a lot of people there, maybe it'll be 5 minutes.
Right.
And it's not so much about the time, though it's time and you should do it. But as I was talking to a lot of the people this week, it's very good exercise to you show up and you have to figure out, like, and if you know your jokes, you know what kind of time your jokes take.
Right.
And you're able to and you make a Frankenset, and you have to trust your jokes. Mm-hmm. You kind of have to be like, oh, normally I lead into that, but I can't tell that because that takes 2 minutes.
Right.
And I want to tell this bit. So let me just jump in. And it both you have to start trusting your jokes, and afterwards I think you will trust your jokes more because you're like, oh my God, I have to really wrench this down.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've done, and I like any mic I go to, I kind of have a plan going in, And for that one I did my last 3 minutes the first week because it was the first time I was doing it and I didn't know how it was going to go. So I'm going to go with the strongest material that I have. And so this week I didn't want to do the same thing again, so I did my first 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting.
And of like what like would really normally be, because I usually get like 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes most of the shows that I do.
Right.
I haven't been constricted to 7 or 8 in a while now. It happens sometimes, but it's not often. But now, so the next week that I end up doing, if I may not end up being able to go this week. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll do my middle 3, or one of the middle 3.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's great. Like it's kind of funny because, you know, even then the criticism that you take, it's all tongue in cheek, and there's a lot of joking around and roasting kind of stuff.
Right.
You're still like, while they're saying it, you're like, yeah, but this isn't normally how that goes. And you don't say that to them because they don't.
Right.
It doesn't fucking matter. Like, just, you know that, and you just go, okay, let me take this criticism with a grain of salt, or really just abandon that thought and really try to drink in what they're telling you.
Okay.
And understand what they're telling you, because it might be in the form of a joke, but you can go, oh, let me.
Yeah.
You know what? I do that, and you know, maybe it's what I'm doing on purpose, or maybe I didn't realize I was doing that, and I should stop.
It's funny, you know, talking. I mean, you know, almost every comedian comes in here and says, you know, you got to just get stage time, you got to do open mics, you got to see what works. Because I haven't been doing this regularly, and I haven't hit a single open mic. Take that back. I've never performed at an open mic. I've gone to open mics where I've watched. Right. And I noticed last Sunday, and I noticed it last night too. Because at first, I do a whole bunch of stuff with the one leg, and there's a couple of obvious hacky jokes that everybody has heard before in regards to it. So when I was doing it last night, as I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, these guys aren't digging this. And at first I'm like, you know, getting not mad at them, but I was kind of putting it on them. And this is all the while I'm doing the show. But then it hit. But then I remembered too when I did the show last Sunday, some of the corny one-legged jokes were not hitting. So as I'm doing this set last night, I'm thinking to myself, all right, it's time. Because I've been doing this pretty much the same set for 3 years. And again, when I say 3 years, I'm talking, you know,
year and a half of COVID.
A year and a half of COVID, and not doing it regularly anyway. Right. So I'm talking maybe 10, 12 times on stage.
Right.
But definitely getting the urge again to, you know, where I'm thinking, okay, I have to sit down and write new other things, because I got to start dropping some stuff. And this is
great. This is good. I love when I go through periods like this, when I'm sick of my material, when I'm actually kind of I think Rob White's the one who said it, like when you don't have joy, when you don't look forward to doing it.
Well, I'm not there. Thankfully,
but to say
it's just more of seeing what's working. I'm not sick of. I could do the same thing forever.
No, I know, but you want to be better, is what I'm saying.
Well, yes, okay,
so
yes.
You kind of go, all right, I can't do those jokes anymore because they're not. Maybe I'm not delivering them the same way that I was, or maybe I've worn them out, and I need to sit down. And do it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. It's like
gotcha.
You get to this point where you're like, oh, dude, you know what? I can't. I really don't. I don't like the reaction I get, because even if you do get a reaction, I used to start off with a horrible, horrible joke. That used to be my opener, which I developed here when I took Trusin's class.
Right.
And it is offensive to every woman. Like every woman.
Yeah.
And like I kind of, at first I dug it because it was like losing them only to try to get them back later. And a lot of times I was able to do that. But it starts being like, I don't want to work that fucking hard.
Yeah, true.
Like, let me just do something that not like, it's not like what I do is like spoon-fed kind of stuff. Like it's not that I want everybody to I want to do things that make me laugh. And I wasn't laughing at it anymore.
Right,
I didn't think it was funny anymore. So I took that out, and that's when I started the mustache thing, and now that's my opener.
Right.
And it just I appreciate it, because one of my favorite points is when I go I will step back from the mic to force them to fucking clap.
Right.
Like,
right. And it's such a great pose.
and I go, let yourselves go ahead. Because to me, that's okay with the losing. Because people are like, he's making me clap.
Right.
And so they're a little angry at me, which is fine.
Yep.
Because now we're going to go to Silly Town.
Right. Right.
And you're going to be like, okay, I'm actually happy I clapped at that.
Right.
By the end of it.
Right.
If you're even thinking of
right.
it.
They're feeling better about you at that point.
Right.
That's great. So, yeah, all right, yeah, you bring up an interesting point because, like, maybe
I think that's great for you.
Yeah, maybe that's exactly what it is.
To me, it's like a form of inspiration. Like, it's a little negative in a way because you're going, like, and you hate, for me anyway, I hate myself when my jokes don't hit or I don't have that passion for them anymore. I'm like, damn it. Well, I should have already been writing new jokes. I shouldn't even be having to rely on this. Like it lights a fire for you, which is only to me that's only positive. Art. It's about being uncomfortable. It's about
you're never satisfied with your art.
and you shouldn't be. Like the second that you are, like that's you start getting worried. Like, and that's what I'm kind of going through a period of that in a way right now. But
you are.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy for you. I look forward to seeing where you go.
I just hope I can come up with something good, but because that's been my problem from day one. I know the stuff isn't, I know I'm not gonna bring a house down, So
dude, you can. I'm telling you right now, your dietary habits.
Oh yeah.
Like, just being like, and fuck segues.
I know that's what Peter Bales told me too.
I'm so sick of people being like, oh, it's got to make sense.
That's from being in here. Like you're trying to just find segues and a nice flow, and it just carries
you
off
only have like a couple of minutes. There's no reason.
No, you're right. That's what Peter Bales. First thing Peter Bales told me when he saw my set.
And don't get me wrong. Like I'm saying it like I'm some sort of like genius or whatever. No. I used to be like, how do I talk about this? How do I bring this up? No, just get rid of. And it's funny. I only saw it in the commercial, but because it was Steve Martin, like I locked in on it, and it's for the masterclass thing.
Oh yeah,
and he says, "Don't ask." He says, "I hate when comedians go up and say, how we doing tonight?' Like, come on, they're at a fucking show. Just get to you're missing an opportunity for a laugh.
Okay,
that's a spot. It's time. Yes, they're fine.
But there's also
that the host did that.
Okay. All right. I'm thinking. All right.
There's no need for you then to also, because I'm telling you right now, you watch 3 comedians go up there in a row going, how's everybody doing? Dude,
yes.
Dude, were you not watching?
Right. Okay.
And I know if I've been in an audience, I'm like, still the same, asshole.
Right.
Still the fucking same.
No, I hear you. I do come from that line of thinking of, of joke or no joke, but getting an energy and keeping a certain level up there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to have a really good opener.
Right.
You walk up and you just tell your opener, and if it's a good enough opener, you're right. You're riding the fucking train. Mm-hmm. It's if you take that time, because I never took the master class, but I sat there and I was like, well, all of those things, but as I watched more comedy, was involved in more comedy, I started realizing what he meant by that. That it was like, you only have a certain amount of time. And part of it is kind of like, I kind of don't care how you're doing. Like, in all honesty, I'm just here to make you laugh.
Right.
So let me just get to that. And not, because that's the first thing I'll say. I'll get up there. All right, give it up for your host. I'm going to go ahead and address the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Like, no segue, just
right.
But in a way, it's a starter, kind of thing. Like, okay, before we really get started. And it's funny because I pass it as, not being my first joke. But it's the first joke. And then I go, okay, I'm gonna break some rules and whatnot. And then I go into this whole thing of, this is art.
Right.
And, yeah. So it's a like he said, it is a missed opportunity. But I mean, some people, that's a crutch. Like you even see with the mic stand, and I think you might have saw it last night. The only thing I would criticize, any criticism I would have had for Kelpie, is she relies on the mic stand.
Yes.
There's a lot. She's not the only one.
Oh,
my God,
plenty.
she's not the only one.
Yep.
Like most of the people that I know, like there are people that I know that can. Sometimes they'll be playing, like Billy. Billy will sometimes play with the mic stand, but I've seen him ignore the thing 5 straight shows. Almost an hour's worth of comedy, more than an hour's worth of comedy.
Yeah.
That he never touched the mic stand.
Right.
But then all of a sudden one day he's like, and it's just he's vibing. There are a lot of people that I know though it's their crutch.
Oh, sure.
It's one of the reasons why you're supposed to put it behind you is no distractions. It's
Right.
you and the audience. Once you start playing with that, I'm telling you that, comics are funny because they're like, well, I have ADD when they're trying to explain why they're socially fucking inept. And you go, yeah, well, so does a crowd.
Yeah.
So don't give them a reason to be paying attention to any. You guys are angry when somebody activates the hand dryer in the bathroom that happens to be right next to where you're performing.
Right.
So it's like, dick joke, dick joke, dick joke. And you're like, I'm glad that interrupted my dick joke. And you're like, just ignore it. Like, this is what, and that's why mics are really important and whatnot. And even that room, it's a great room because they are actually listening.
Right.
They're
Yes.
not reacting. So you actually go through the paces of like, God, I got to get these people to fucking react.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, they're like, oh, that was fucking great, man. And you're like, oh, so it did work. It worked. What was your favorite, and then you say, what was your favorite part? What do you think your favorite joke was? And they'll tell you, and be like, oh, okay. So that works, and he didn't react at all to that. So
Tim did actually come up to me, and he said to me flat, he goes, by the way, he goes, love the leg stuff. I was like, really? Yeah. And I do. He's been doing it longer than me, and he's a good friend, so it meant a lot. And he said, I fucking loved it, he said. Oh, that meant a lot.
Dude, you didn't see him, like, creeping to try to help you because he knew you were coming to that part of...
Oh, where I flipped the leg?
And he was, like, trying to figure out, like, how he was going to get you.
Oh, he was going to hold me?
Something. That's what I'm like.
I didn't see him.
Because I'm stoned, and I'm watching this, and I'm like... Because you're, like, over here, and I'm like...
No,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, but then I was like... And then when I realized, and I'm like... Oh, and then I saw you move over to where the chair was, and I was like, oh, he's got this. I'm like... And I'm trying to wave off Tim, but I'm like... He doesn't need me to wave him off. He sees it.
That I think I saw from my peripheral was you going, like, you did it maybe once or twice, and that was it?
I was like, I went like this to Tim, and then I'm like, he didn't even see me, and why am I fucking doing that anyway?
No, that I think I saw, but no, I didn't see. I know I did, Tim. Tim's like a big brother, man. Like, we do the race, and he stopped running to pick me up. And then last night he's going to hold me.
Also a little self-serving, but yeah.
Right.
I don't know if we can use the race as an example. But last night for sure.
No, I had no idea. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was such a good show, and Kathy just. I mean, we stopped at Kelpie. Really said James, but James was amazing. I told you before we started, it's that same thing. When I don't get to see people I like for a long period of time, I hate that I don't get to see them and talk to them.
Yeah.
But to see his progress from the last time I saw him, like it's like I get such a charge out of that, and I get to see when he comes out, I'm like, oh my God, you are fucking killing it. Like you could tell you're putting the work in, James. Like,
that's actually how I feel about Nicole, because like I said, I met her before, or she was just fresh into it.
Right.
She had that show with Benny some years back, and I was a guest on there a couple times, and and then and she's been through some shit since then.
Yes.
So it's nice to see her back. It's nice to see her comfortable, and same thing. The first time I saw her was here in the Giggle Room. In fact, I was here in the studio getting ready for whatever we were doing. It must have been a green room show if there was a show going on down the hall. And I heard her. She was on stage. I'm like, that's Nicole.
Yeah.
So I went down, and at that point, I hadn't seen her in years, 2 or 3 years at least. And same thing. As soon as I peeked my head in, she goes, oh, is that Tony? I'm like, and we're having this
ADD.
moment in the middle of
like,
the show. Yeah.
ADHD,
like, hi, Nicole.
ADD, whatever the hell you want to talk. Squirrel.
But, so, yeah. but to see her so comfortable. She's not only comfortable on stage, but she's so comfortable with herself now that she's comfortable up there and she's able to do what she wants to do.
I just think she's like, I know other people have other dealings with, like we're all not going to like the same people or whatever. Like she's one of the people who I get happy as soon as I see her name or I see her in the place.
Like Les Deegan.
Les, absolutely. I don't know Les as well, but since I met him and we've talked and whatever, it's like, hey, Les, what's going on? Kathy Arnold. Like, it was a show of people, Kelpie, James, you. Like, I wanted to be at that show.
Right.
And that's why I showed up. I didn't want to do time or anything. I just wanted to see this group because a lot of them you don't often. Kathy, I hadn't seen, I swear, it must be 2 years since the last time I saw her do stand-up.
Right,
now, we've hung places before, but it's even been a long time since I've hung out at a place that Kathy happened to be at also.
There's something about Kathy.
Oh, she's brilliant.
Brilliant. I'm just talking as a person. Whenever I see her, me and her just we just say hi and then we just start cracking up for some reason. Like there's something about it. She's just a fun person.
She's such an easy person to talk to.
Yeah.
And I think that's her likability that translates up there. You're just like, and even the jokes that she has and everything, like when she starts talking about being on parole,
right,
and whatever, and you're like, yeah, I can totally believe this chick is on parole.
Yes,
and I'm sure it's a wacky story, but I love her, and I want to hear,
right,
like, is she going to even address that she just said she was on parole?
Right. Yes. we actually had a funny exchange before the show last night. We were sitting down, just catching up, talking. Now she had forgotten. Kathy has a cousin who has an autistic son, I believe it is.
I've heard you bring this up to her before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I actually said that to her a few minutes later. I was like, Kathy, we've talked about this. So she has this cousin. The cousin's husband is a guy I used to work with at the phone company.
Oh, wow.
My ex-wife, the mother of my children, Lisa, she's a pediatric physical therapist. She used to treat this kid.
Oh, wow.
So Kathy and I have a bunch of weird connections. So, and she's a bartender.
I like how you characterize that as weird, but go on. It's the weirdest
Sorry,
thing.
I didn't mean. I just meant.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
So I don't know why, but last night in her act, she said she didn't want to say where she bartended. So I'm not going to mention it now either. But I know some people in the special needs community.
Like I know, get hammered at her bar.
Yeah. So there's one guy that lives right near that particular establishment. So it came up one day that he knows her, and then we have our special needs bowling league that we have on Saturdays, and one of the parents came up to me a couple months ago. So I forget where, but somebody was some venue was having an event with Knockem Dead Comedy, and they saw a picture of me. So the guy comes up to me and goes, "Is that you?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." So some of the parents found out.
Oh, okay.
So one of the parents just maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. She comes up to me. She goes, so you do the comedy stuff, right? I go, yeah. I said, I work at. And she said, then you work at Governor's? I said, yeah, I work there. She goes, oh, do you know Kathy Arnold? I'm like, yeah. She's another one. Her and her family, they go to this establishment a lot. So I think that's how the conversation started last night. This is the first time I'm bringing that particular family up to Kathy.
Oh, okay.
So I said, yeah, I said, the guy Ray, older fella, but his special needs, him and his family. They said they know you. And she says, oh, you know them? I go, yeah. They told me that, the whole Governor's connection. And I said, and then and then my buddy Dom, he said he goes there a lot too. So she stops me. She goes, are you special needs? And I go, what? She goes, why are you involved? Why do you know all these special needs people that come to work? I said, and that's when I said, Kathy, we've talked about this.
What are you, a special needs bar? That's what it sounds like.
I should have said that. I should have said that. It would have been great.
Sorry, that's it. You're not a confrontational person. That's why. I'm like, wait, what are you trying to say about me? Damn it. I'm going to say it about you, motherfucker.
I would have loved to have said something like that. But I just said, Kathy, we've talked about it before. We have these, and then, oh yeah, my cousin. Yes. But I don't know. Maybe I had to be there. We had a good laugh at that.
You can cook this over some time and be like if you're introducing somebody to her, and be like, oh, this is Kathy. She's the bartender at that special needs bar I was telling you about.
Right.
Like to do that because that will fucking low key torpedo her and be like, "Wait, what? You call the place I wear?" She's probably gonna love it. But
yes, I think so.
I like a nice combative joke to sneak in some places.
So yeah, definitely a good night. It was
everybody
different
was fantastic
for me, but yeah, it was a fun time, good with good people. So and the audience, like I said, it was definitely different for me. That I'm like you said, I'm an energetic guy. I like to get the crowd going.
Right.
This was not that, but they were nice people.
They were.
The owner was really nice.
They're sweet. Everybody who goes to that, everybody. There's been a couple of times where there's some assholes, but overall, that crowd, like 99.99%, they're all like it's like they're like, nah, man, I respect what you do.
Right.
But they're there to get stoned.
Right.
And that's the primary thing. It's almost like doing a bar show, but much like Kathy, was it Kathy or Nicole saying it last? No, it was Kathy saying it. That stoned people are so much nicer.
Right.
Weed people are so much nicer than alcoholics. Alcoholics are mean.
Right.
So it's almost the same thing. Only it's that difference is that they're all just like sweet, like, oh, cool, man. This guy's up here doing his thing, man.
I'll tell you though. Years ago, it's got to be like 30 years ago. I had a buddy. I was just talking about it when Chris Williamson was in here the other day. I had a buddy that owned Purple Haze Music. It was a CD shop in Hicksville, and they had a Ticketmaster. And if something big was going on sale, it was one of those things. I mean, you remember back in the day, if you were, all these lines outside a building, if they were getting tickets for something. So my buddy used to bring me in. He paid me a couple bucks, or he'd throw me like 10 CDs or something if I did the crowd control.
Right.
Excuse me. So there was this one year, Islander tickets for the Islanders for the season were going on sale.
Individual game.
Yeah, right. We're going on sale the same morning that Grateful Dead tickets for Giant Stadium were going on sale.
Oh, wow.
And I think it was like 2 or 3 nights. So you had the Islander fans, you had the Grateful Dead fans, and we were panicking for days. Like, how do we do this? How do we split this up? How do we figure out? And then my buddy was like, yeah, because the Ticketmaster computer, like, it takes a few minutes if you're switching from, because usually it's one event. Like Jones Beach tickets, fine. It's all different concerts, but it's still just Jones Beach. And it works off the same program, the same template. Where this was 2 completely unrelated events. So to keep switching the computer over, again, we're talking early to mid-90s.
Right, this is not like the biggest,
and it's not
wireless.
Right, and it's not like the internet like it is now. So, where you get things immediately. This was, you got to wait 5 minutes, wait for the system to change. So, and we came up with no solutions. And even that morning, I'll never forget, my buddy was like, he was sweating at that computer, even before we started, because he just knew it was going to be a shit show. So what I did outside, I split them up into 2 lines. Grateful Dead here, Islanders here. And I even gave them the choice, because I had a megaphone, and a lot of people were regulars. I knew some of them. And I said, look, I'll give you the choice, because it's going to, be a lot of back and forth. It's going to take time. I said, do I send in 2 or 3 dead people? Do I send 2 or 3 Islander fans? And we all kind of decided together we're just going to flip-flop.
Right.
Man, these deadheads, I thought I wasn't making it out of there that day.
Well, they carry knives.
Yeah, right.
I want to pee so bad. I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
Diabetes being, I can't believe that this happened.
He's running down the hallway. All right, so that's that. Okay, so yeah, my apologies for not getting. I guess I apparently did not get the word out well enough that we were going to be on YouTube today. So my apologies on that, and hopefully you guys will see the show on replay at some point. I'll tell you what we got going on. Next week's going to be a fun week. Marla Schultz and Laura Patton are coming in here on Monday. If you guys remember the last time they were in, I mean, oh my God, it was just nonstop laughter. Every time Laura comes in, no matter who is in here with her, she's just a blast. Marla's always a blast, and then the 2 of them together are just unbelievable. So that's Monday. Tuesday trivia. I do believe Hugh Murray will be here. Joining us is Joe Carletto. Joe is one of the owners of Governors. He's been in here before. You guys and many people ask when he's coming back because he's just a funny guy, man. Great guy. Brian Paul is coming in on Thursday. You all right? You good? You raced down the hallway to get back in here.
Dude, I like that was... You know what it is? I think I have to poop.
Oh.
But what I did
But you do that faster than you pee,
I know,
so why
but
didn't you?
I don't want to just, because sometimes there is a monkey wrench and I'm like, I'm going to be here for longer. I had to go so bad. I threw the door open. I went in and I peed. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, I can still hear Tony. And I turned around and the door never closed behind me. Like, oh, thank God it's 12:12 on a fucking Friday and nobody's here.
Yeah. Sallie, I think it was 3 times where she walked into that bathroom to find Felix on the bowl. Yeah, and I think she's still,
traumatized.
Goes to therapy for that.
I think if we could draw a line to where it all started falling apart.
Yes, that probably is it. Yes. Well, understandably, would be the case for anybody. The first time I ever met Terry McNeely, I was holding my dick in the bathroom.
Nice.
And Terry walked in.
That's weird because normally you're holding somebody else's dick. That was like a softball.
I
just let that fucking.
No, I didn't tell you what my left hand was doing.
Little elephant, walk of the elephant.
Skiing. I like the skiing part.
Oh, the walk of the elephant.
Yeah, right, with the trunk. Yeah,
where everybody's holding each other's dick. And you have to walk a certain way, otherwise it's gonna hurt. Speaking
of holding dicks, I don't know if I told you the story. I'm not sure if I shared the story on the air at all, but I'm going to tell it now. I think it was like mid-January. My Lisa, who I mentioned before, the mother of my children, she was in a relationship. She was living with a guy, and they had broken up. And he had moved out, but his name was on the lease still, and he still had some stuff, there. Once in a while, he'd come by to get some stuff. And I was helping, I was helping her move. She found a new place. She was moving. I was helping her move, and for a while, she had both places at the same time, which made it very nice because made it stress free. You could grab some stuff one day, and then I don't have time today. I'll get it tomorrow. So I was helping. With the kids and stuff, moving stuff over. So I was there one morning, and she had many conversations with the ex at this point. This isn't your place anymore. Right. You don't walk in. You let me know if you're coming. Yeah. And at this point, too, 99% of his stuff was gone. You really had to kind of search to find something. Or if he said he wanted to come by, be like, all right, for what? So I was there one morning. I was stopped. This was mid-January. I had to stop there. I forget why, but I had to stop there for a reason before I came here, which was a bitch because I'm in Hicksville and 5-minute ride, but I had to go
to Hicksville.
That's right, and I had to go to Melville first and then come here. Not the worst, but it's still 20 minutes out of the way. So I'm there doing whatever it was I got to do, and I'm getting ready to leave, and I'm like, all right, let me pee before I go. I go into now. She had a bedroom with a bathroom attached to it, so. And this place had 3 bathrooms, and one on the first floor, 2, and then the second one in the hallway on the second floor, and then the one off the master bedroom. So I go into the bathroom. I'm peeing.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I'm demonstrating.
It's 2 hands. It takes me 2 hands.
That's right. I gotta
pee.
So
once I unravel it from my leg.
Right. Exactly.
Once you get that coil in there, it's hard to get it out.
Right, and it stays coiled, so you got to point it just right.
It's like a duck penis.
It's like a fire hose. So I'm peeing, and all of a sudden, do you ever have those moments where you just know something's there, and it scares the shit out of you?
I guess.
Well, because the door to the bathroom was to my right, but behind me a little bit, so I couldn't see.
Yeah.
But I just kind of knew. So as I'm peeing, and holding my dick and peeing, I turn him right, and there he is.
Nice.
The ex-boyfriend is standing there,
and he's like, "Hey."
No, thank goodness. But I just turned. I'm like. And so, but I'm still peeing, so I couldn't really do anything.
Right.
He does one of these, and he bolts. Now, at that point, it's not even like I could even yell. I was like, "Are you okay?" Or what's going on?
What he was doing? He was trying to get one last sniff of panty. That's my theory.
Well, the thing, so I couldn't yell to him because the man is deaf. Literally, he actually is a deaf
Yo,
man.
you have a whole fucking
my life is
solar
insane.
system of insanity.
It's a soap opera of a life that I lead. It's
with people's disabilities and whatnot.
well, yeah, yes, especially when it comes to that. My
what?
life
Thank
is
God
a
you
soap
exist, so that I don't really have to deal with any of that.
Yes, I am here for you and for many others
to ruin
who can't.
the average.
Yes,
the average gets drawn to you,
Yep.
so the rest of us are disability free.
I would swear there's something wrong with Sallie. Why would she? Because she's not disabled, but she took on all these disabled people in her life. She surrounds herself with it. So so it's not like I could yell to this guy, "What are you doing? What's going?" So, and I literally just started peeing when this guy walked in. So, and because I'm 50-something years old, so my pee takes, like that scene in The Naked Gun, where Leslie Nielsen leaves the mic on, he goes and pees, and it takes forever. That's a normal pee for me. So I'm like, meanwhile, now my son calls me. He's downstairs. And I'm still peeing, but my phone rings. I pick it up. He's here, right? I was like, yeah. What's he doing here? I was like, Zach, I don't know what he's doing here. I said, I'm peeing.
Right, you're gonna have to there's an order here. I love you, but it's a little weird that I have my dick in my hand. I'm talking to my son. I'm uncomfortable. I don't know specifically when I'm uncomfortable on it. I guess I shouldn't be, but I am.
So So now I'm trying to pee. I mean, my son is 22. He can handle himself, but I'm still thinking that's my son. What? I hope everything's okay. I hope they're not fist fighting. So I'm trying to finish my pee, and then I gotta it's a little bit of a process with the prosthetic comes all the way up to here. So so by the time
the holster gets
exactly
awry a little bit,
so. By the time, and then I can't run. I can't go downstairs fast. It just felt like an eternity.
Right.
By the time I got down there, he was gone. But but my son was all pumped up. He wanted to kick the guy's ass. I'm like, all right. But yeah, we're talking about holding dicks. It just reminded me of that story. I knew you'd have fun with it, so I decided to share.
Thank you. I'm gonna retell that. Like tonight, probably after the show that I'm on, especially since it's gonna be Tim, Keegan, Rob White.
Shit.
Like it's got my show's gonna be a good show. Go to Governors for sure, but if you just can't make it all the way there, we're in Holbrook. And Keegan,
Keegan will have a field day at my expense.
I love seeing Keegan. I was actually telling Billy last night that I had seen him. This was going back some months, and it was when he first started really losing weight. And I'm standing outside.
Keegan or Billy?
Keegan.
Okay.
So I'm standing outside with Carla here talking. And Mike walks up, and I look at him and I go, Mike, I hope you don't mind me saying this because some people do, but you look great. Like you've dropped a lot. And then there was like a beat because I'm like, this might be uncomfortable. Like people accepting compliments or whatever,
right.
Especially comedians. And I'm like, or it's that jacket is really slimming. And he was fucking hilarious. He took that and went with it and was like, yeah, I'm going to go home and tell my mom, like, hey, Mom, Andy says this is slimming, so could you get me this in a couple more colors?
When John Ziegler was here yesterday, he was talking about when he was first diagnosed with his cancer, and it's not a high survival rate.
His is the most aggressive, isn't it? Like, I don't think any other...
Yeah. So he was talking about how word first started to get out, and he said he got a text from Mick Thomas. Did you hear this?
I did hear this. This
so
is so
funny.
Yeah.
Brother, I'm here for you. If you need anything at all, I've got nothing but time. And he puts the phone down. It buzzes again, picks it. Unlike you.
Yeah.
Holy shit, was that classic?
See, what he was saying was so awesomely like I actually had a lot of like I didn't comment too much. The only thing I commented was about that we had met the guys from Platinum Platypus because they were really cool and spent like a solid amount of time with us, and they were interesting people.
Absolutely. And the special came out great.
It's great. Seen it. But they that's the only thing because everything else I just wanted to hear.
Yeah, it was a very interesting conversation yesterday.
And it's funny because there's a lot of times when you're talking to like comics who have been doing it for a long time, or even just like people who are really like they've committed themselves to it, in the way that maybe that I respect, because there are some people that have committed themselves to it in a way that I don't particularly respect. Not that it's bad or wrong, or they're bad people, because they are not. It's me. That's 100% me. But what Ziegler's approach to it, like just what he was talking about. It's like when Howard Stern interviews people. I'm listening past like what they're actually talking about and trying to apply it to me because I'm a malignant narcissist.
That's the name of your comedy special.
Yeah, right. And that like because it's funny because I think Howard Stern should he should pay somebody to either make an audiobook or to a textbook of that, like a lot of his interviews where you get these gems from these people about like their experience, but it's actually like, as if you're in comedy, it is so ubiquitous to comedy.
Yep.
Like anybody in comedy has experienced this thing. And Ziegler, just about everything he was talking about, I mean, the cancer thing, no. But I do get these weird hangnails. So I guess
you know what it's like.
Yeah, that's where I was able to find my connection. No,
I once had somebody say to me that they heavily bruised. I don't think they broke it. It was like a heavily bruised ankle. And actually said to me, so I kind of get an idea what you're going through.
If that's not a joke, then
it wasn't a joke.
The dumbest fucking thing somebody can say.
It was not a joke. Yeah. I could tell you that with 100% certainty. This person was not.
Because I reducto ad absurdum. I do that joke. Like, there are certain things like you do on stage, and then there's like regular life things. I have a ton of things I've been saying for years that are sort of just my standard thing.
Drive fast, take chances.
Well, that actually, yes, but this is more of like form jokes.
Oh, okay.
Like I'll add, if somebody has something disgusting or whatever that they say, I'll say, usually I have to pay extra for that. You've heard me do that.
Yes, I have.
There are certain things, and I just use them over and over and over again because they're just a funny thing to say in certain situations. And so when somebody has a catastrophic thing happen to them, I do like to be like, well, I got this hangnail. It hurts. or whatever as a joke.
Yeah.
But I have run into people, and it's the story topper thing. I was just talking to Billy and his mom at the kitchen table about and it's something that I've tried to use in my act, but it just doesn't fit with everything of being like, this is how to get rid of story toppers, which I know I've told you.
Yes.
The tactic, because this is a real thing I've been saying for years to people.
Right.
Is tell a shit yourself story. Because story toppers need to feel like they look cooler than everybody else.
Right.
And so if you have a solid shit yourself story, this person is not going to be able. It's you watch. It's like literally like when in movies when the android has been decommissioned by something, a virus or some sort of Buddhist cone that like breaks it. The sound of one hand clapping. It's like that sound of one hand. It's the same thing. You watch them do it. They're like, and they start trying to think like, can I tell my shit yourself? Because it's way better than theirs.
What is your shit story that?
Oh, I just tell like a kind of a baseline one because it's happened to me so often. It doesn't really matter what the details are.
Right.
But primarily it'd be like, dude, I had this dream. And I felt like it was really intense and kind of sexual. And I woke up and I just completely shit myself. Like, and I don't know if you've ever had to like walk down the hallway with like the shit just in your pajama pants, and it's just like clump dripping down your leg, and like one of them hits like pretty far down your leg. You're like, how did that? My ass must be huge if there's a piece of shit hanging off of it that was able to drop all the way to my ankle. That's crazy. Like, but you're like trying to, and this is a story that I'll tell. And then, in the bathroom, and then, I just go straight into the shower and I strip in the shower and I'm, My father, because this is the primary person that I learned that's how this works. Cause my dad is a classic story topper. He just, and he'll change the subject.
Right.
What
and you're sitting there like,
yeah, you're like, oh, and I perfected it on this lieutenant who used to come into my office, and my boss hated that this lieutenant would come in our office and hang out.
Oh yeah, you've told me that.
He's my boss was a tech sergeant. I was a staff sergeant, and this lieutenant who was about the same age as me, but had been in the Navy and then did something called Palace Chase, went to school, got a commission, and so now he's a maintenance officer in fucking North Carolina. And he was from upstate New York. And so there were two things that he would try to always say to me, that the Navy's better than the Air Force. And I'm like, okay, here's the proof that's not true, honey. You're here.
Right.
Right. You're not in the Navy anymore. So this is better. Like, but the other thing was, upstate, we send all our taxes downstate. I'm like, you need to probably go home and talk to your parents. Because that's not what the fuck happens.
Right.
Like, and I told him there's a separatist movement on Long Island. Like, seriously, just
for a long time.
Take the physical island, like the entire thing, Brooklyn, Queens, Nassau, and Suffolk, and make it into its own state. It would immediately become the 14th largest state, I think is the figure.
Okay.
Like, right in the middle, like it's somewhere in the middle. It might even be like the 20th. Anyway, somewhere between 14 and 20. Like, that's substantial. That's important. Like, we never get like politicians coming through here. We did the last couple of times because it was weird. But normally politicians are not going to come out to Long Island. They don't care.
Yeah.
They're not even going to go to New York City. They'll go in for fundraisers or whatnot, but a regular person isn't going to be able to go and watch them.
Right.
But if we were to separate, and people in Brooklyn, like hardcore Brooklyn, hardcore Queens, they would also like to not be a part of New York City.
Right.
Not for like, oh, it's too liberal or anything like that. It's no, like Brooklyn, the biggest little town, or the fourth largest city in the country. I forget what it was, but Brooklyn was like, when they got incorporated into New York City, it was like, hey, wait a second. Like, we're fine by ourselves. So if Brooklyn would be, like downtown Brooklyn would be the capital. Though I actually truly think like somewhere out here that has space for a government complex to grow would be a better place. There's state offices in Hauppauge.
Right.
Like I would say that would be a great place to sort of headquarter the state.
Sure.
Because it's out of the way.
Right.
And whatnot. But yeah, like, dude, fuck you. Like, I think we get like a 20 or 30% return on our state taxes that we pay. That's insane. Mm-hmm. And they are at like a plus 150, 160%
right
return on what they pay in taxes. It's like, you do not know. No, the MTA tax, my parents bitch about it. Yeah, because this is the economic engine. You don't get to have anything if money isn't being made downstate.
Right.
That's why I don't give a shit if you're from Western New York. You're from fucking upstate. Because you don't matter. You don't.
Take that.
Albany only matters because it is the capital.
Oh, Jerry Lehane's
Hey,
watching. Hi, Jerry. Well, it's actually time for us to go anyway. Thanks for watching, Jerry.
Nice.
So, all right. So tonight,
Hello.
where?
Tonight we're at the Freedom Brewing Company, and it's Sallie is hosting. Keegan is closing. Rob White's featuring.
Wow, that's a good show.
It's like Travis Grant's on it. Brian Paul's on it. Obviously. And I think that's it. But it's so it's not going to be crazy, but it starts kind of early, so that's cool too. 6 o'clock seating, 7 o'clock start. So
very nice. Jerry says crazy names in New York.
Hop Hog, not Hop Hog. Hop Hog. And you know what? I have the sexy British lady on my GPS. She says Hauppauge.
Oh, I kind of like
Hauppauge,
that.
New York.
I like that.
Take exit 37A towards Hauppauge, New York.
Too bad it's not exit 69. Exit 69.
Yeah, and then you've gone too far.
There you go.
Manorville. It's not the same.
Fremder, to the hundreds of people watching, have a good one and stay funny. Right back at you, pal.
Yeah, for all the people watching this
on replay,
because they're trying to edit the serial killer video. Thank you for watching.
Our thanks to Chris Monty, who stopped in, who couldn't stay longer because he had crying children.
Yeah, dude. Both of us get that.
Yes, absolutely. And but I'm just glad it's not me anymore.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Like,
glad it's Chris.
Like, I'm not even 50 yet, and I've got they're 11 and 9 at this point, and I'm like, yeah, there's no way.
Oh yeah, I was probably around 40 when I was like, I could not do that now.
I was 35 when Charlotte was born, and even then I was like, oh my God, I think I'm too old for this.
Yep. I think there's an advantage to it, and I talked about it the other day. I forget which show it was, but we were talking here. Oh, I think it was with Williamson and Tartaglione. I talked about Don Sill having his first kid at 19.
Yeah.
And his daughter jokes with him, and she says, "My dad and I grew up together," which makes total sense. And there was probably something really cool about that to be kind of close in age.
Right.
I know Eli has talked about that.
Yeah,
he had his first
his
kid,
son.
I think, at 16 or 17.
It was early.
But so now he's got his kid is like almost in his 30s, and they have a great relationship.
Yes.
So there is advantages.
His son is hilarious, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But oh my goodness, but I'm glad I'm glad I didn't have kids too young, but my kids, I was 29 and 30 when my kids were born, and I don't know. Oh, very thankful that I just think it's a good age. I can still identify with them a tiny bit, but
see, I'm happy that I was older because the nonsense that I grew up with, I was actually able to set it aside, and not react.
Right, sure.
And not understand what I was doing was a bad thing.
Right.
I liked that I was a little older so that I could head myself off at the pass.
Yep.
And just be better.
I hear you, because there are
not
plenty
great, just better than what I had.
There's plenty of times thinking about when they were young where I think about stuff I would have done differently now, especially having an autistic daughter and a son with ADHD. We were, and the fact they're so close in age, it was, our house is like a tornado sometimes.
Right.
It's like, yeah. So
and it's hard to react to that because you're working, you're at the end, you're emotionally
hard to not react to that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. In a way that you wish that you didn't.
Right.
If you had more time to think about it, more patience.
Yep.
We can all use more patience.
And that's the thing. I mean, because there used to be 3, and the fact that I killed one in front of the other 2 to teach them a lesson. He's buried at the old house, so he's not even with us anymore. It's a shame. You two have a good day, says Jerry. You too, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. Thanks everybody who hasn't watched yet and hopefully will, because it's on YouTube and they didn't know it.
No, when the editor who's making the serial killer documentary about which one of us becomes a serial killer later on or gets caught finally. Really, honestly.
We're back on Twitch on Monday with Marla and Laura. And again, we've been celebrating our 5th anniversary. Just want to thank you, pal.
Oh, yeah, no, hey, thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Love having you here. And it's nice because I feel we have great shows together.
Yeah.
We've developed a great friendship. I consider you a close friend. And then we've been able to enjoy the Long Beach Library show and last night and things. So it's that's as we're not making money here doing the show, at least there's benefits like that. So
yeah, no, and we get to talk about some great people.
Absolutely.
That's what I really enjoy. I really enjoy, you get some really fantastic guests, and also when we get to talk about the Long Island comedy scene, last night, those people, it's so far and ranging. It's Nassau and Suffolk, it was a mix of both last night, which is really cool when it can be that good of a show and that mix. Because normally Nassau sucks ass. I'm just kidding. You guys are fucking great. I love you all.
Have a great weekend. I don't think we're doing Green Room tomorrow. I haven't checked with Don, but I'm pretty sure he told me he wasn't around. So, and I don't even know if I'm around. I don't even know who's playing. Eric Tartaglione is in the Giga Room tonight with Chris Williamson. Sidney Castillo, Zarna Garg, I believe, is playing the main club this weekend.
Am I having a stroke?
Zarna Garg? Sidney Castillo, Zarna Garg. Joey Cola playing the Brokerage tomorrow night.
Very cool.
And Nico White is, I believe, at McGuire's. Nico White is one of the clubs. Those are the names. Go to govs.com, find out where they are, find out what the full schedule is. Jim Florentine is coming in a couple of weeks.
Awesome.
I'm definitely going to do a green room show that night because when last time we had him in here, we had a blast. So I want to get him on. He's one of my personal favorites. Yeah, lots of cool stuff. Go to govs.com. Go to knockemdeadcomedy.com. We're playing 317 in Farmingdale next weekend, but it's sold out. And I would tell you come to our April date there, but that one's sold out too.
Oh, shit.
That's right. But we got more. We're going to be back there in the fall. So lots of cool stuff. Go to knockemdeadcomedy.com. Find out what we got cooking. So, again, have a great weekend. Go see this guy tomorrow night. Tonight. Go see this guy tonight.
If you can't make it to a governor's stage.
Right.
I'm very, dude, seriously. It's like if you see one movie this summer.
Right.
See that other one. But if you see two, go see ours.
That is one of the downsides, though, and I've always felt that just, from a performing standpoint, from a friend standpoint, from things I want to see. Like, there's plenty of times I perform somewhere, I'm like, oh, that was a great show. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, I missed that concert? Fuck.
Yeah.
Or this guy was performing stand-up. Oh, shit.
Well, that's like last night. That was me to Billy, is your show still going on? And he's like, oh, I'm leaving now. All right, you want to meet? So.
Yeah. So there you go. All right, everybody, enjoy your weekend. And, if we're doing a green room, I'll let you know, but I don't think we are. All right. See you guys later. See you.
Peace.